Hello and welcome back to Good Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name's Preston. I'm here with Sam. Say hello.
Hello, it's Monday. That means it's meta time.
Yeah, we had another tournament in Japan that we wanted to talk about. This was the Aichi Championship qualifier, and a pretty drastically different top 16 in this tournament in comparison to last week's. And just to sum it up real quick, six Zoros, three Laws, three Whitebeards, one Rebecca, one Katakuri, one Nami, and one Crocodile. In comparison to having way more Rebeccas, a lot less red last week. And that's really exciting. We're getting a little bit of a power struggle, it feels like, between what's going to do well, which is super, super cool.
Yeah, this is definitely the most diverse it's been probably since set one. That's probably the most diverse, just funnily enough.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's exciting for Red. They were definitely struggling. I don't know if everyone's super excited to see this, but it's nice to see that it's tossling because they were very absent in the last tournament, and they have been decreasing. But alas, even with 12 Reds being in the top 16 here, none of them won.
Yeah, we did get a second place Whitebeard,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll cover here. Um, but yeah, I mean, top four was three red slash law,
Rebecca.
and
Yeah.
then Rebecca.
Mm.
Um, so we're seeing Rebecca just be outstanding and play Gear 4 and win, which is super funny.
Mm-hmm.
That we're finally getting another deck that can compete with Whitebeard. Whitebeard's been just annoying since he came out and just got better in set 3. So now we have stuff that actually beats it. We found it. It's Rebecca. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably is also Crocodile. I want to find that list and maybe talk about it when there's not a tournament to follow,
Yeah.
because he's been showing up
Mm-hmm.
and doing a lot. Um,
Yeah, in every tournament, and it's not increasingly high numbers. It's in the twos. I've seen twos very often. He fits really well. He'd be really fun to cover in this anti-meta portion. He fits really well into this meta.
yes, exactly. I hope he top fours so that the player will post their list or something so that we
Yeah,
can talk about it.
absolutely,
Um, but let's look at this Whitebeard first of all.
absolutely.
Second place.
Second place, Whitebeard. These aren't cards that are new to us. We've been playing since set two. We've seen these guys before. I think Whitebeard's trying to find its nesting place. This is the most it's had to do to win. That's a nice little thing to think about. So it has to adjust and try to find ways to beat all these different decks in the meta. And I think this is a pretty good iteration. I really like this one.
Yeah, they are playing the right amount of like high vanilla drops that are coming in with pure power, and obviously just playing all the Marcos that you can place because they just don't go away easily, and a decent amount of counter. Like, I was expecting more for some reason, but at 21 Ks and the standard 12 2Ks, this is pretty defensive, I feel like. Especially because I feel like Red's kind of always felt like it's been playing more defensive because you have the Atamas, you have Makinos, you were playing Gordons at some point in set 2. So it is kind of like this weird, aggressive, defensive deck. But now they're trying to find where, like, Whitebeard's always trying to find how it can use these big vanilla drops. We've gone through King Dew and a bunch of different ones from set 3, and I think that's kind of their strength of just having a decent amount of cards with that Whitebeard Pirate title at the bottom, so that
Yeah.
you have cards that you can search and power that you can hit with. And they'll probably evolve a few more times before they fizzle out, especially if they don't get set 5 support. I feel like we will finally start to see stuff go away. But if they're anything like what Law is doing, playing just set 2 and lower at set 1 and 2 cards, we could just have a solid like A B tier Whitebeard deck that just never goes anywhere. Just always sits at the top.
Yeah, 6,000 power is nothing to scoff at. You know, that's the reason he's here. And speaking of meta, as long as they can keep adapting, you know, we're playing Thatch in this meta because it avoids specific blue cards. We got rid of the 4-drops because these blue cards were hitting him, but we were losing the faster matchups like Zoro, and even Rebecca in some cases. So these 4-drops are a good add to kind of mix it, because we did fall away from that. But yeah, I do agree that we might start to maybe pull away if we get a little bit more. That's kind of what we're doing now. It's nice, but it's kind of hard to imagine this going away. There's just a lot of good cards working for it. So I guess we'll see. But right now, it's hanging around. It's hanging around in the meta.
Yeah, and they'll probably always be relevant until the next big red deck comes out that just blows Whitebeard out of the water. But it's nice to have something else to talk about, and it seems like we're going to be talking about Rebecca for a while until we get some type of emergency ban list that gets rid of this Luffy, because it's just really good. You can turn a game on this one character card. So
yeah, and if we were looking for an argument for the event card being the issue, we kind of have to throw it out the window, because notably this deck does not run the event card. It's King Gum, right? King Gun. Yeah, we are not playing that in this list. So it's the Luffy. It's a clear win con. It's doing everything well. It fits. It's a very good deck right now.
yeah, being able to attack twice when you need it to, being able to attack actives when you need to clear board. I think it's probably mostly going into leader, but being able to attack into actives when your leader can attack is probably pretty nice to be able to get in and clear boards, so that you can then just make them work for any ground to be gained. And then you have the Sabo. We're going to gush about Sabo until they do something about it. This card's ridiculous. If you haven't seen any other video where we talked about Sabo, he has blocker and he draws cards. That's dumb.
Yep. Yeah, there's not too much iterations from the last video that we talked about. Obviously, the event card's missing. The replacement was Tashigi. It does have some synergy here. It works well with Leo. Mostly, though, I think it's the 2K. I think we wanted the 2K, and this was the better of the options. And the extra defensive power is just as valuable as the extra offensive power. So the win con is just the Luffy. You know, it's... I don't know how much more we can do about it with this meta. I think that's why we're seeing an increasing amount of Crocs, increasing amounts of Katakuri, these very specific cards that can help ignore the Sabo effect while also removing this Luffy. These keywords, and that might be where the meta is heading.
Yeah, as we go on with these cards that can't be KO'd and effects that give the ability to protect your board from not being able to be KO'd, you're going to be getting more decks rise up as a counter to that are just take it off the field. It doesn't KO it, so you're not protected. And that's very well I don't know, I haven't seen Crocodile's list. What Crocodile's most likely doing, because blue is really good at that. And that's something that this deck could do if it needed to adapt. It has access to those same blue cards. If it needs to adapt, they could very well play a lot of really good blue cards and still play this Luffy game. We'll just have to see if they ever pressured into that.
It's a couple tournaments. Yeah, it's a couple tournaments in a row. It's a couple of high placements in a row. Decks are going to have to adjust not only to against this, but also the mirror. You know, the mirror wasn't a huge thing, you know, when Rebecca was rising, but now that it's seen the big stage this many times, you're going to run into it more and more. So the mirror match is what I'm going to find most interesting. Unless they're just playing whoever gets the Luffy first. That's just dangerous.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And with this many blockers, even if you do get the Luffy second, you're gonna have all these blockers on board. Was this 4?
That's just the 4. You don't really play Bart unless you have to.
I was gonna say there's Bart, but he's 2K, so you're most likely using him for 2K. And then there's Sabo and Ideo. I've never said his name out loud.
Yeah, and you have the protection from Sabo. Like I said, it's just these couple blue cards that bounce, or the Katakuri that sends to life. You know, it's just those few cards that you can play around. But like you said, blue has access to it, and they also have Mihawks, they have Kaidos, they also have Gum Gum Red Rock. So there's a lot of different answers to Luffy that I think we might start seeing pop up just to deal with it. I thought that would increase the value in Queen, honestly, but maybe there's more to that matchup.
Yeah, exactly. It's really exciting. I'm happy to see this next meta that we're going to get into at some point evolve so nicely, so that we're not just talking about red decks every week. And this is cool. I don't mind talking about Rebecca right now. Maybe in a couple weeks when she's won 3 more tournaments, we'll be covering other things because it will get boring. Especially if there's no like evolution in the deck and it's just dominating with the same list. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, though. I'm really excited to see it unfold. We're getting a very interesting meta over there in Japan, so exciting times.
Yeah, it's exciting here in the West, too. We've kind of mentally blocked red. I think we're looking for any reason not to play red, so that set's going to be very exciting for us. I think we'll see less and less red as the meta develops, which is good for the game. So I'm excited for that, and not the theme deck coming out in a couple weeks. But thank you so much for you guys that stuck around. If you're still here, please consider doing the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Man, how many more Rebecca decks have to top before we stop talking about her?
I don't know.
2 more weeks of it.
It might be a while, man. I think we'll talk about Little Yellow, but it's gonna be a lot of her.